Hey, TYT Sports, RotoWire, Heather, Ben, Chris. DeMarco Murray, fresh out of surgery this morning. I know that affects the Cowboys a little bit, obviously, but if you're in the Super Bowl and the fantasy football playoffs, that's a big loss if he doesn't play this week.
It's almost better, though, if he doesn't. Obviously, there's two people should be trying to pick up Joseph Randle, probably more than Lance Dunbar, although that's an issue also.
Right.
Both the guy who has Murray and the guy who's facing Murray, if he's in the finals, because screw the other guy. I mean, pick him up yourself and leave him on your bench, right?
Right, totally, of course.
But so there's at least a 50% chance you should be able to get him if you have Murray. So it's a very good chance you'll have him. It's almost better, I think, against the Colts, who can be run on. If you had Murray, he was declared out, and they said, okay, Joseph Randle's our guy. We're going to mix in Dunbar on third downs. That would almost be better than Murray starting, and you don't really know what his workload is. I think that is the nightmare scenario because you can't sit him, yet you can't start him, and you're screwed. Now, it's only Tuesday. They're saying that he might be able to play through it, right? What's the latest, Ben?
Yeah, the latest, the Cowboy, he had the surgery yesterday. The Cowboys say right now that he might be able to play. And remember, this is the Cowboys who push things. Tony Romo should not have played. He should not have stayed in the game in London that he played. He should have sat the Jacksonville game. They had a bye week coming up. They didn't do it. They don't do it. So they'll push him. I'm confident that and we know that the Cowboys structure is not like other structures. You get the impression that in Pittsburgh, if the trainer says Le'Veon can't play, then Mike Tomlin and Dan Rooney say, okay, I guess he can't play. But in Dallas, Jerry Jones says he'll play, right?
Yeah.
And then they work backwards from the decision. So I wouldn't rule him out, but I agree. I'd be looking at other options no matter what, even if Murray's good to go.
Well, let's see exactly what he did to his hand there. A fracture is what they were saying, and it's with his left hand, not the hand that he carries the ball in. So.
It is he had surgery on the broken fourth metacarpal bone. And Jason Garrett says the biggest question we have to ask ourselves, is he functional to do the job? Can he hold the football? Can he carry it under duress? Can he block? Can he do the things necessary? So it's not just carrying, but also it's blocking. And remember, you got a quarterback with a terrible, DeMarco Murray, a good pass protector. And, even the hold he had on Sunday night was good because he needed to hold him to keep him from hitting Romo. So he held him. And it cost him yards, but it was still the right thing to do. So if he can't protect Romo, I don't think he'll play.
Right. Or he starts.
Or he starts and
then Romo gets sacked.
Carries the ball 3 times for 9 yards, and Romo gets sacked, and that's the end of DeMarco Murray for the day.
I mean, the good thing is it's Tuesday right now, right?
Right.
Friday, Saturday, Sunday morning, that's when you want to follow it. But if it is not resolved, you're just going to have to play it by gut. It depends on your other options, and it is not going to be an easy choice.
DeMarco Murray, with 38% of his team's yards from scrimmage this year, leads the league. Ahead of Matt Forte, Le'Veon Bell, Arian Foster. But a couple of similar injuries that people have had. Emmitt Smith did this in 1999, I believe.
And he missed a game.
He missed a game. Willis McGahee had this surgery. He missed a game. Terrell Owens, when he was with Dallas, had this. This is all from Todd Archer's piece in ESPN. And he didn't miss a game, but they had a bye week.
So
he missed the game.
Information, because nobody's missed more than one game.
Right. So he can come back from it, but it sounds like you probably ought not play.
And it's not like Emmitt Smith and Willis McGahee and T.O. are soft dudes.
No, those
guys played through. T.O. on a broken ankle, destroyed the Patriots in the Super Bowl. So
Willis McGahee came back from the toughest injury you can come back from.
If you have anything viable that's good and the news isn't completely positive heading into the weekend, I would use him over DeMarco Murray. And when I say anything viable that's good, I'd have to look at every matchup and kind of draw a line somewhere. But I think people need to do that.
And wreaking havoc on many people's fantasy teams, we have some fun tweets.
The fantasy football anxiety on my timeline over DeMarco's injury is intense, says Andrew Siciliano from DirecTV and the NFL Network. Yosef Garzone, or Yosef Garzoni. With DeMarco Murray having surgery, my top 4 draft picks for fantasy football are officially unavailable for the playoffs. The whining people do for fantasy football is tremendous. It really is. It brings out the worst. Why, says Shekel, that I have to go up against DeMarco Murray this week in the fantasy football playoffs and not next week. He didn't have that huge a week. You should be pretty grateful.
Come on.
DeMarco Murray potentially made it through the season until most fantasy football championships. That's cold-blooded, man. I think people don't get, this is fun. This is Oscar Rodriguez. The moment you have to pull over to the side of the road to pick up DeMarco Murray back up for your championship in fantasy football. I don't.
At least he pulls over.
At least you pull over, right? It's the right thing to do. Always pull over. You know, an injury is not oh, how could you do this to me? Because an injury is an injury. It's fantasy football. These guys get hurt, and they're no less. They're just as likely to miss week 4 as week 16. This is how it goes. I think what's crueler in fantasy football is in the first round of many playoffs last week, which I know impacted both of you guys, is the nonsense. Is Mark Ingram not going down, is scoring that touchdown, and then in a game that was completely over and people were prepared to take a knee, the Bears go 80 yards in less than a minute and get a junk touchdown from Cutler to Jeffrey. That cost you, right, Heather?
Yeah, it cost me big time.
That's a real blow because that was freakishly unusual. A broken hand from a running back in the NFL happens.
Let me just say one last thing. I know these guys want us to wrap up, but I got to just say this. Dude, DeMarco Murray hurt his hand 3 plays left in the fourth quarter. Do not bitch about that. He could have gotten hurt in the first quarter on the first play. If you have DeMarco Murray, you should thank him for the courtesy of having his injury after he scored 2 touchdowns. How many times have I had an injury on the first play of the goddamn game and I get 0, then you get eliminated? Your problem is you have to find someone for week 16. You are still alive in your finals. Be thankful for that.
That's right. That's right.
And on that note, good luck.
Amen.